Hey, it's Rob. We're back. We're going to do another Offsec Proving Grounds practice machine. This time we're doing a machine called Vault. It is a Windows machine rated as hard. And it wasn't that bad. I mean, I didn't think so. I did have to do some stuff that I'm not super familiar with, but there's plenty of documentation online, and I was easily able to search and find what I needed to do. So, without further ado, you can see I am on Offsec's VPN, and I do have Vault spun up, and here's the IP address. The first thing we did was we ran an Nmap scan, service version detection T4 aggressive on all ports, and things that are indicative of a domain controller have returned. Now, this machine is really funneling you towards SMB because there's really not much else to take advantage of here. I mean, WinRM is probably going to come into play with 5985. You got terminal services or RDP 3389, but we don't have any credentials or anything. So, you can't really move further with those avenues of attack unless you have credentials. The one thing you do want to note here is the domain vault.offsec and DC vault.offsec. So we're going to want to get that into the etc host file. So I'm just going to drop to the bottom here, and I'm going to copy and paste this. There's going to be two entries. You can see the first one is vault.offsec, which is the domain, and then dc.vault.offsec is the machine. We're going to hit Control O to save, Control X to exit, and we're going to enumerate SMB because there isn't a whole lot else we can do. So let's see what we can see. We're going to use SMB client to list all the shares on DC vault.offsec. Okay, we're going to hit enter. Going to hit enter. All right, and there's some shares here, and that document share probably looks the most promising, honestly. The rest of them are pretty indicative of a domain controller. And we're likely not to have access to them. So let's see if we can connect to the document share. We'll use SMB client again, except instead of this time, we're not going to be listing. We are going to be trying to connect to the document share. Hit enter, and we're going to do an LS, and there's nothing there. And I was stuck here for a little bit until I started to think about what they're trying to get you to do here. I usually get stuck on these machines where they want you to do phishing or some kind of, dropping a link somewhere for an admin to click on, because I keep forgetting there's, I always think there needs to be somebody on the other side for that to happen, but they have these machines set up with scripts and everything that do it. So my thought was to drop some files onto this share if it's writable, and see if anybody, quote unquote, clicks on them. So what we can do to test this is actually we can open a terminal here, and we can do touch test.txt. Get out of here, go back to our SMB, and we can say put test.txt. And if we do an LS, we can in fact write to this share. So I found this tool a while back when I was doing another one of these type machines. I think it might have been for Hack the Box. It's in Greenwolf's GitHub. It's called NTLM Theft. It's really actually I'm not logged in as myself, but I've started it. It's a great tool. And what this will do is it will generate like phishing link files for all of these different formats, because a lot of the times, like the one machine I did previously, I put a URL or a URI up there and nobody clicked. It required an Office document. So you never know what's going to work and what isn't. So I would recommend you git clone this library to somewhere on your box and just hang on to it. If we go to my tools, you can see I have NTLM theft. All I did was git clone the library. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a terminal here. and I'm just going to create some documents that point back to my machine, okay? And then I'm going to start responder and wait and see if we can capture any hashes. If you've taken TCM securities training, practical ethical hacking, you know how to do this already, okay? So Python 3 ntlm theft.py, we want to generate all documents, although I will just upload the one that I know works. It's going to point back to my server, and we're going to put it in a folder called payroll, okay? And we're going to call all of the documents payroll. So I'm going to hit enter, and now we should have a new folder in here called payroll. And if we cd into payroll and do an ls, we can see we have all of these documents here. Okay. I believe the one that worked was the payroll.url. Yes, payroll icon.url. This is the one that I figured out worked. Okay. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do a pwd. We're going to copy this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our SMB, and we're going to say put paste clipboard, and then we want to put another / and we just want to put, I think we need to put quotations around it because it has some weird characters in it, but we'll see. Actually, maybe we won't. Let's just try it without. Oh, and we should probably start responder too. So sudo responder. The interface we're using is our VPN interface, and then these are the options that we should pick. Okay, pretty standard stuff. So responder's listening. We'll go back to here, and we'll see if we can put this up there. No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get this payroll icon one. Which one is it? This one. We're just going to drag this over to Cali, and then we'll try again. I think I might have to put quotes around it, so we'll see. That's listening. And we'll put all right, if we do an ls, it's up there. So now we just got to wait and go back and see if we have anything. I think we can kill this. And we'll go to our responder window, and we're already getting hashes. I mean, look at that. All right, so you know what we need to do now. We need to grab this hash, copy, and we need to open a new window, and we're going to go nano hash.txt. Paste the hash, Control O to save, Control X to exit. Do an ls, and we have hash.txt there. Now we're going to use John. So we'll type John, hash.txt, tac, word list, rocku. Going to hit enter. I may have cracked this already. I don't know if it's still in my directory, but we'll see. It is not in my directory, but it is done. See how quick that was? So now we have a user and we have a password. So with that, we are going to try to evil winrm in. So we'll do evil winrm, and then we're going to use the Airodump-ng and then the secure HM is the password, and we're going to be connecting to dcvault.offsec. And we got a shell. So we'll back up a directory, do an ls, cd desktop, ls, type local.txt. And there's the flag. Now here's where I struggled a bit, because if you look at who am I, priv, and I wasted a lot of time. I would have been done with this machine sooner. We have the backup privilege. So I immediately did reg save hkey local machine sam, reg save hkey local machine system. I copied them over to my machine. I used PyPyCats to decrypt them. The problem is this. You can't evil win RM as the administrator. I had the hash for the administrator. I tried using it. It just would not let me in. So although this looked textbook, dump the SAM, decrypt everything with PyPyCats, and then you'll have the admin hash, and then you can log in with the evil win RM using a hash. It just was not to be, okay? So I spent a lot of time enumerating. I ran WinPs. I think I even brought over PowerUp and ran invoke all checks. Finally, I just started to look at the domain stuff. And really, for that, you need PowerView. Well, you don't need PowerView, but it's helpful, okay? And I also found, I said, how do I pen test, group policy objects for Windows privilege escalation? And there's a lot here. And basically, I did exactly what this gentleman said. I used PowerView, NetGPO. I found that you could edit the GPO. And the reason that this is important is because if you can edit a GPO, you can potentially change settings, right? So if we do who am I all, and if we actually spell it correctly, there was remote management users. Server operators was another one that I thought about trying to take advantage of. But machine account privilege, you can add workstations to the domain. So there's potentially a couple of things you could do here. But ultimately what I did was I downloaded PowerUp and PowerView and started doing all the checks with them. So that's what we're going to do. So you can get PowerView from PowerShell Mafia's GitHub. I think all we need to do is download this, and then I think we can just drop it into our Kali folder. And I believe we can use download. Let's see, download. I always get confused with upload and download with evil win RM. I don't know why. PowerUp.ps1. Okay, could be upload. Yet again, Rob can't keep these two straight. No, it's not there. Did I screw something up? Let's see. Kali. Oh, PowerView, dummy. And it's probably download. Nope. There you go. One of these days, Rob will get the upload and the download. And I always say it in the videos, uploading a file from my machine to this machine, downloading a file from this machine to my machine. One of these days I'll get it straight. All right, let's do an ls, and you can see we have PowerView.ps1 here. So the way you have to, well, first thing you should always do is PowerShell execution policy bypass. It may not be needed, but I always do it. And then we want to load the module, so, or the PS1 script. So PowerView.ps1. Okay, now we should be able to run the commands inside of PowerView. And the one that we're interested in here is, I believe it's get net GPO. So get net GPO. All right, so we have the default domain policy. Now we need to see what the permissions are on this. And the command for that, what we want to do is we want to grab this, let's actually clean this up a little bit. Let's see if we can, this is what we want. We're going to need this number. I guess it's, what do they refer to it as, the GUID. We're going to need that to be able to check the permissions, because that's how you refer to it. So here's the command using that number. Oops, cancel. So we're doing get GPP permission. Now I think that's just a Microsoft command. I think a normal PowerShell command. I'm not sure if that is, let me see if it's in, I have this up, PowerSploit, because I'm not that good with it. So yeah, I think that's a Microsoft one, to be honest. That's not a PowerView one. But this is the command, get GP permission, the GUID, which refers to that number I just showed you on the default domain policy. A target type is user. Target name is the user, who we currently are. So if we hit enter, GPO edit, delete, modify. So we can definitely change this GPO. So I didn't know an easy way to do this. If you go back to this article, which was great, by the way, I will make sure the link is in the description below. They recommend using SharpGPOAbuse. So I went to F-Secure Labs SharpGPOAbuse, but they don't have any binaries, and I know this is bad. I really don't want to have to compile this myself. So I did find another GitHub that had the GPOAbuse binary already compiled. So we're going to download that. And we're going to want to put this into our Kali folder so we can upload it. And then we're going to upload, and let me just open a terminal here and grab that so I don't have to type it. So open a terminal here, ls, copy. And then what we're going to do is go to our foothold, and we're going to upload. All right, so if we do an ls, now we have SharpGPOAbuse there. Now there's instructions on how to use it in both of these websites, or you can look it up. It's very simple. And actually, I think he even tells you how to do it right here. It literally, we're using SharpGPOAbuse to add the user that we are to the local administrators group via the default domain policy, which is the one that we just checked the permissions on. All right, so the command to do that is exactly what I took from that website. I just filled in our information. So SharpGPOAbuse, add local admin, user account, our user, and our GPO name is the default domain policy, I believe. Right here, yeah, display name, default domain policy. So now when we hit enter, I'm going to run a command that everybody who's been in support that has had to support Active Directory at any point in their career has had to type at one point or another. GP update, right? Force. Now this may take a second, so just bear with me. All right, so if we do who am I groups, it might show that we're in the administrator groups. Let's just do all. But it does not. So what I would advise you to do is after you refresh the default, the GP, you force GP update, I would exit and I would log back in. All right, now let's see if it shows if I'm in there or not yet. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at all those additional privileges I have, and now it shows I'm in the administrators group. So now what we can do is we can cd c users administrator desktop. You can do a dir, and we have the proof.txt. We'll type proof.txt. And there's the flag. So we got through this machine in 22 minutes. It took me a little over an hour. The hardest part for me was figuring out the GPO stuff. It took me about 5 or 10 minutes to figure out that the only way that I was going to get anywhere was if I, used Responder and dropped a URL on the share and figured somebody was going to click. So, the GPO stuff, I'm not real great with it. I did sign up for Altered Security's CRPT, Certified Red Team Professional. It's all Windows, all PowerShell, so I'm hoping that will help me. But overall, I enjoyed this machine. It was fun. It was hard, but I did get through it faster than I thought I would. So the way we exploited this machine was we ran an nmap scan. We saw SMB and not much else was open on a domain controller. So what we ended up doing was using NTLM theft to create some clickable links that we put on the SMB share because it was writable. We started up Responder. We immediately started to catch some hashes. We decrypted those hashes using John. We evil WinRM'd into the machine using the credentials we captured. I did all kinds of enumeration, including running WinPs. It really didn't give me much fruit. So what I decided to do was to start looking at PowerSploit stuff, so PowerUp and PowerView. And it's when I did that I was able to determine that we had the ability to edit the default domain policy group policy. So what we did was we downloaded SharpGPOAbuse. We added our user account to the administrators group. We forced a refresh of group policy. We logged out of evil WinRM. We logged back in. We had administrative rights, so we went to the administrator folder and catted out the proof.txt. So I hope you found this video useful. I hope you learned something. If I used any links, they'll be in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, just want to say hi, drop a comment. I would be happy to chat with you. Check out the Discord server I've spun up. All the information's on my YouTube page. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.